to my channel. Today we'll be working on React Redux Toolkit to consume the web API that we built yesterday. Let's get started. So this is the API. If you refresh, you can see get data. Alright, now I'd like to show you my code that actually works just for read. I'm gonna go ahead and do cd just to show you how it looks like. And npm start. So it says, okay, yes. I'll change the port number to 3000 and let's do like this. So if you click on read menus, it's supposed to give you the list of menus. So click on inspect and you'll see error message like this. It has been blocked by coarse policy. So to fix this issue, go to your Visual Studio, and I already have a code. So this is the code that I commented. So let's uncomment this. This is all we need to copy paste. This course policy, this can be changed, but make sure you use the same thing over here. So let's uncomment it. Let's save it. Make sure you add this course, add course above data context, not below this if loop, okay? Otherwise it's not gonna work. And make sure you use this course below authorization, or maybe below redirection, not below run, okay? Because this will run the app and then it's not going to do anything. So let's save it, and until and unless you restart the application, it's not going to work. Okay, so let's either just stop debugging and restart it this way. And now you need to run this code in VS Code also. So now I guess it's going to work just fine. Okay, go to your VS Code, open a new terminal, cd frontend, npm start. Okay, let's do yes. So now you need to make the port number to 3000. The reason why is I have port number 3000 over here, so this will only give access to port number 3000, otherwise it's going to block it again. And this means that apart from this link, it's allowing you to read any endpoints after this link. That's what it means. Now let's go to our browser and let's click on read menus. Now we can read data from Swagger API. It's just like a postman, so we can read the data that's stored inside the database. Okay, here's the data. I'm not able to do update and delete because I haven't written any code. So let's inspect this one more time, and I'll show you something here real quick. Okay, this initial state in React Redux Toolkit, it's all about entities and IDs. So when you use create entity adapter, it's going to have an object with entities and IDs. Right now it's empty, but once you add data, for instance, we have 3 rows, 3 records here. So IDs will have ID of these 3 records. And if you click on entities over here, entities will have the entire record data from ID to food course, food type, everything. Along with that, it also has an ID that is actually mapped. So this ID is being mapped with this data through this ID. I'm sorry. So this ID is being mapped to this data number 1 through this ID. That's how it maps. Okay. And this is an array. This ID is an array, or let's call this is an array, as you can see, and it can be iterated. And entities cannot be iterated. Okay. It's an object. Entities is just an object, and we are able to map data just using the ID. So this ID is really important. So later in this video we will be learning about what is use selector, select by ID, and other things. So let's get started. To start, I already have a VS Code open, and I just typed npx create react app, and the frontend will be the name of my directory. So it has frontend already created. Scroll down just a little bit. Once you see happy hacking, you can assume that you can start coding. Okay, now let's click on source and remove everything except index.js and app.js. Okay, let's go to app.js and remove these imports. I like to remove everything inside return. And I'm going to add header h1. Let's save it. Let's go to index.js. Let's remove these. And let's save it. Okay, let's do yes. Okay, so now that this is working, we can start coding. Okay. Now inside, I'm sorry. We need to install a few things. First thing would be React Redux Toolkit. So let's go to their official website and click on getting started. Scroll just a little bit and you can see installation npm. Let's copy this and make sure you paste it inside frontend. Okay, let's paste it. And the other thing that we'd like to install is React Redux. Okay, this is done, and we will be learning about create API and everything just in a bit, okay? But we'll be taking help from this documentation. Now let's go to our VS Code again, and I'm sorry, not VS Code, on our browser, and let's type React Router. I'd like to go to W3 Schools. Let's copy this, and inside frontend, make sure you inside frontend. Let's paste it here. Okay. Scroll just a little bit and you'll see this import. Let's copy this, and inside app.js, let's paste it here. Now let's copy from browser. Let's copy this. So let's remove hello world and paste it here. Okay. Now we will keep layout and home because these will be the general pages, and we'll keep these inside components, but specific pages will be related to menu. So let's inside source folder, let's create another folder which will be app. Okay, and let's inside source, let's create another folder. It's going to be components, and inside source, let's create another folder that's going to be named as features. Okay, so now inside components, let's add two files, two components, layout.js, and the other component will be home.js. Okay, so now inside features, you're going to add a folder, and the folder will be specific to menu. Okay, this features is like you might have a model named book or table or office, so its feature is very specific. Right now we're going to add features that's related to menu, so we are creating a folder named menu. So inside menu, let's add a file named create menu.js. Let's add another file, read menu.js, and let's add another file, update menu.js. And last but not the least, let's add another file. It's going to talk to API slice, so it's going to be menu API slice.js. Okay, let's save it. Now it's a lot, I know. So inside app folder, let's add another file, and the file name will be store.js. Okay, inside app itself, let's create another folder. It's going to be named as API, and inside API, let's add a file. It's going to be API slice.js. Okay, now we will start working on API slice.js, but I'm sorry, I forgot to add layout from our router. This one's very important. Let's complete this routing thing first, and we'll work on those. Okay, let's copy this, and inside layout, let's paste it. Home should remain home, so read menus. So this is going to show us the list of menus. And let's save it. And let's go to our app.js here. Okay, here let's change few things. So inside, let's do like this. Let's copy this, and inside here let's paste it. And this will be read menus. Okay, and for create menu, let's copy this. Create menu. Now the last thing we'd like to add here is ID. This will be update menu. So once you pass ID as parameter, it should take you to update menu.js component. Okay, and let's save it. I guess this is all. Now let's see what's okay. Layout is defined. Oh, layout home. Yeah, sure. Let's import all these. So layout is inside components. Okay, let's import home. Let's import read menus. So menus is inside features, menu, read menu. Okay, let's save it. Let's inspect what's going on. We have 20 errors. Okay, if you see these kind of errors, expected a string. So let's go and fix these. It's giving you error message because you have nothing inside home.js. So just type refce. Let's save it. Because I have ES7 snippet, code snippet, so this refce works. Okay, refce, and I just pressed enter. That's it. And I guess these are the only things. Let's see if this works or not. Yes, it does. So read menus, create menu, home. So the link is working. Now let's start working on our APIs. Okay, so go to your VS Code. we'll start with API slice.js. That's inside apps, APIs, API slice.js. Okay, so now import create API, or you know what, you can go to the official website, and this is exactly what I was going to type. No, I'm sorry, I was going to type this second one. Let's copy this. React Redux Toolkit works only if there's /query/react. So let's copy this and let's paste it. Let's save it. Okay, so now let's type export const, and it's going to be API slice equals create API, and it's a function with an object, and it has three things that it's going to take. The first would be base query colon, and base query is going to take fetch base query. So fetch base query just like an XUse. So in this React Redux Toolkit, the beauty of using React Redux Toolkit is that we don't have to use XUse anymore. So fetch base query does everything. So it's an object one once again. Now inside fetch base query, you're going to pass the base URL, because without base URL you can't work on API. So let's do base URL. The intelligence will show you everything. So the base URL is going to be this. Let's copy this and let's paste it here and save it here, not slash. Okay, all right, now let's put a comma. The second will be tag types, and tag types is just similar to the name of model. So we have a model named menu, right? So just put menu. If you had multiple models like table, or it would have been something like this. Right now we just have menu, so that's it. All right, put a comma, and the last thing would be endpoints. Okay, so endpoints, we're not going to pass anything except builder, and it's an object with, it's a function with an object, and let's save it. So this builder will help us build endpoints from specific API slices. So we're going to use builder to build endpoints inside menu API slice.js. Okay, I'll come to that just in a bit. So once this is done, API slice is done, we'll go to store.js and let's import configure store. Okay, select this intelligence. Now in configure store, we're just going to use React.js toolkit, not /query, not /react. Okay, this is it. And let's import API slice. Okay, now export const store equals configure store. It's a function with an object, and this object also has three things. Okay, give me just a second. First will be reducer. Put a semicolon and curly braces. So inside curly braces, we're going to pass path of reducer. So reducer, I'm sorry, inside these brackets, you're gonna pass the reducer path of API slice. So it's going to be API slice dot, so intelligence will show you reducer path, and here put a colon API slice dot reducer. Okay, that's it. Put a comma. Now the second would be middleware. Where? Middleware. Oops, let's cut this. I was wondering why intelligence is not coming up, because we're not supposed to put middleware inside these curly braces, because this curly braces is only for reducer path. Okay, let's put a curly brace. Now you will see intelligence showing you middleware option. Okay, you just select this. Now the middleware will be get default middleware, such that get default middleware, and it's going to be a function dot, let's concat. Okay, and inside concat we're going to pass the API slices middleware. Okay, so API slice dot middleware. Okay, this is how it's supposed to be according to the documentation. So don't memorize this. It's just a one-time configuration inside store and one-time configuration inside API slice. Just remember you need to change this localhost and tag types. Otherwise, it's just one-time copy-paste thing. Okay, now the third thing that we would like to add here is dev tools, because we might want to use one in future, and it's going to be true. Okay, and let's save it. That's all. Let's remove this because, okay, let's save it. That's it. Now we're gonna call this store inside index.js. So let's call our index.js, and we'll wrap this app with provider. Okay, let's cut and paste it below, and let's add a store here. Let's pass store inside the context. Let's save it. Now let's import both store and provider. Okay, make sure it's React Redux, okay, not just React. Okay, that's it, and let's save it. Alright, these are one-time configurations, so you don't need to memorize anything. Okay, now let's go inside menu API slice.js. Now that's where building endpoint starts, and let's keep in mind that this API slice is going to, this is where this has the base URL, so we're going to inject endpoint inside this URL. After this URL, I mean, I'm sorry. So this is base URL and endpoint will be after base URL. Okay, so let's copy this. It's paste, not everything. Okay, let's copy this and let's paste it here. This is the base URL. Now slash read menus. This is going to be the endpoint, okay? And build using this builder, we're going to build endpoints. But to build this endpoint, we need to inject endpoint, okay? And that we will be doing it inside menu API slice.js. Okay, we will do that those things just in a bit, but we have to understand the concept of create entity adapter that I showed you earlier in this video tutorial. Let's go here, and so entity adapter will create initial state. This is what I was talking about, okay? And that's what I'm going to do now. So import create entity adapter. Okay, we are able to create this import this create entity adapter because we have installed this React.js toolkit. That's why. Okay, all right, now let's import API slice. Okay, now const we're going to use create entity adapter inside menu adapter. We'll name it menu adapter, okay, because we're using it inside menu feature. Here, this is what I'm talking about. We're typing everything inside this features menu folder, so that's why I'm naming it the adapter. Okay, equals this equals create entity adapter. It's a function with an object, and const we need initial state. So initial state will be entity adapter, so that's going to be menu adapter dot. The intelligence will give you, if you type get, and this intelligence will give you get initial state. That's what we need. So if you console log this initial state, this is what you will get. Okay, you'll get an object with entities and IDs, and that's how React Redux Toolkit works on entities and IDs. And IDs will have these IDs, just the IDs that can be iterated. It's an array. And entities, this entities is an object, not an array, so it can't be iterated. So these IDs will map with these IDs to get the specific record of data. That's how the concept works. Okay, and to select this specific ID, we're going to use something like select by ID keyword using selectors. So we'll learn about create selector just in a bit, but I just wanted to explain you the concept of initial state. Okay, let's get back to our VS Code. Now export const. So now we're going to build endpoints. Okay, equals API slice dot inject endpoints. The intelligence will show you everything, and it's a function with an object. So basically what it's telling you is that inside API slice, let's inject endpoint, and that endpoint is going to be but it needs to build the endpoint. Okay, so we're going to call builder such that read menus. So okay, let's understand this slowly. So what this is doing is that it's going inside API slice and injecting endpoint. This is the read menus endpoint that it's injecting, and this builder will build this endpoint in order to inject inside this API slice. Okay, and here it's going to inject endpoint through this endpoint, and this is why we used builder here and didn't pass anything, because eventually we're going to use that builder over here to inject, to build endpoints. So read menus is the endpoint, and now we're gonna type like builder dot query. This is all React Redux Toolkit's code that is asked to be used by the official documentation. Okay, if you read, let's see, I'll show you something here. Not here exactly. RTK overview. So here, this is exactly what I am typing right now. The difference is that I'm getting data from the API, and this is not getting data from API. But you will understand the concept and everything if you read this documentation. This is all you need. Okay, let's go back to our code. So reading the menus is just like a query, but if you had to add a menu or update a menu or delete a menu, it would have been builder.mutation, not builder.query. Okay, so that's the difference, but we'll see that how it works in just a bit. So it's builder.query, and it's a function with an object again. Okay, and we're gonna type query colon, it's a function slash API slash menus. This is going to be endpoint for our API. Okay, so if you go here, go to our Swagger slash API slash menu. This is the endpoint for to get access to the API data. And this is the endpoint that we will be using to have access to that data. Okay, and this, we got this because we have used this in our app.js. This is what we used, this word, specific word. Okay, so it has to match. All right, let's close this, and now let's put a comma. We have few things. This could get a little overwhelming because we have too many things inside read only, but it's going to get easier once you work on create, update, and delete. So just hang on with me for a bit. I'll try to explain as best as I can. Okay, so the next thing we're going to add here inside this endpoint will be validate status, and it's going to take two parameters, response and result, comma result. Okay, such that will return okay status. So it's going to be response dot status equals to 200, which means okay status, if you remember. Okay, 200, and there should not be any error. So to do that, we're gonna do no, sorry, the result shouldn't have any error, so result dot is error. Okay, and that's all. Let's save it. Okay. Okay, after validate status, the next thing we'd like to use here is transform response, the second one. So we're using this because this React has, okay, React is going to use ID as ID, okay, but in our VS Code, if you go to our menu model, we used capital I and small d. So let's copy this, and so in VS Code we have ID as this, so these two are not same. So we're gonna transform response so that it's going to match. Okay, we're gonna create a match, so we'll see that shortly. So inside transform response, let's do response data such that, and let's put the response data somewhere in the const. Okay, const new data, okay, equals response data dot map, and inside map what we will be doing is, let's call it menu. Okay, menu such that menu dot capital ID. Okay, this ID, let's assign this ID equals dot ID. So React's this ID is going to be assigned to this ID so that it understands. Okay, now let's return menu. Now at last, after this ID thing is updated, we need to update this in our initial state also. Okay, inside our initial state, so let's return node adapter, sorry, menu adapter dot set, okay, set, and we're gonna set initial state with the new response, new data, new response data. Okay, and that is it. Let's save it. And the last thing that we'd wanna use here is provide stack. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, just has 4 things, so we're almost done. Provide stacks. Okay, so inside provide stack we have 3 things inside. We're gonna pass 3 parameters: result, error, and argument. Okay, such that, so now I'm gonna scroll just a little bit. Okay, if result has ID dot IDs, which means if result has, let's show you, not this one, sorry, this one. Okay, so it means that if result has IDs this, then it means that there are data, right? Because we're getting these IDs because we have data over here, and these IDs are extracted from here using this ID. Okay, so we're just checking if there is data or not, and using this, it's not going to give you null reference, it's just gonna give you undefined. That's why we're using this. Okay, result has any data, then we're gonna return, and this return is going to be inside square brackets, and the type will be the name of our model, and it's going to be inside these commas, menu, and now comma, and we need to provide an ID. So the ID will be list of data. Okay, now put a comma here. Okay, here. Okay, over here, let's put a result type, result dot IDs dot, we're gonna map through every ID. Okay, which means we are going to map through every ID, means every data, because ID can be iterated, but entities cannot be iterated. Okay, so we only get to iterate through IDs. So let's iterate. So result.ids.map, and let's call ID such that here we're supposed to have only this bracket, but right now we're gonna create a function, and let's use this bracket where we're gonna put this. Let's copy this, and actually let's remove this curly braces, and let's paste it like this way. So here, instead of list, it's just going to be ID. Okay, no, I'm sorry, it's not just ID, it's going to be argument.id. Okay, arg.id, save it, because we're iterating every IDs, that's why it's giving us. I guess I'm slightly confused. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be only ID or arg.id, but let's see. I think it's just going to be an ID. If there is an error, we'll work on this. Okay, let's save it. Now, if this is, we need to pass else also. So else, we are going to return this. Okay, sorry about that. Let's copy this, let's paste it here with a square bracket. Okay, let's save it. I think this is all for read menus. And I'd like to tell you that create, update, and delete is very, very simple. So please don't get overwhelmed. Okay, now I'd like to mention that using RTK we can create custom hooks. It actually creates hooks automatically. So okay, this is all we need to type. And now if you just type use, you're supposed to get, okay, see, the intelligence already gave you this. So use read menus query, so it's going to add use in the beginning and query in the back, because to read we are querying, right? And also we have used builder.query. So to create, it would have given, we would have used builder.mutation, and it would have given use create menu mutation. Okay, all right, that is all we need to do for now. And now let's create data, make selectors, data selectors. So export. I'm getting confused, so I'm sorry about that, but let's see how we can do it. Okay, const. We're going to select read menu result. We will be getting data once we get the result. Okay, equals. So we're going to get the result using the endpoints. So menu API slice dot endpoint is read menu dot I think it's going to be select or no, it's going to be endpoints, because read menu cannot be accessed directly from menus API slice. So endpoints dot, let's see, yeah, read menus dot. Okay, we're able to use select now. It's a function. We're chaining select function, and that's all. This should give you the result of entire menu inside this. Okay, but now we actually need data, not the result. So we're not going to export, it's just going to be const read menu. This time we're going to type data, not result, equals. Oh, we're gonna create a selector now. Okay, if you click on this, it's going to import create selector up over here automatically, and this create selector is being imported from Redux Toolkit. Okay, go all the way down, and this is going to have two parameters. The first one will be this. Let's copy this and paste it here. The next one is going to be anything, like we're gonna just convert it to the data. So select the data such that, let's copy this, dot data. Okay, there is the intelligence. So let's save it. Excuse me. Okay, I think, yeah, this is it. Excuse me. Okay, on the other line now we are going to use the selectors. Okay, now export const, and we're gonna use this get selector function, but to get access to get selector, we're going through entity adapter. So we're gonna use menus adapter, that menu adapter that we created on top, and this will allow us to use get selector. Okay, get selectors, and now we're gonna pass state such that this, let's copy this, and I'm gonna pass state inside. Okay, and if there is any if the value is null, then we're gonna ask it to take you to initial state. Okay, and that is it. Now from inside this, get selector, if you type select, it's give intelligence will give you everything. So select all, select by ID, we are able to access these. Okay, so if we do select all, we are able to access entire data. If you do select ID, you're able to access data specific to that ID. Okay, so and we're gonna rename select all to select all menu. Okay, let's put a comma. Select by ID, and let's rename it to menu by ID. Let's save it. So using this select menu by ID keyword, we are able to select specific menu record just using the ID, and let's save it. And that is all about read endpoint. And now let's consume read menu. So let's go to read menu, and here it's going to be const equals sorry, if you go to menu API slice, this one. Okay, let's copy this, because using this we're able to read the data. Okay, so go here in, let's paste it, and let's put a function, because this is going to be a function. Now we need to, let's copy it, we need to import this also. Okay, otherwise we're not able to use this. From menu API slice. Okay, let's save it. Now inside this const, we are going to get access to data, and we're going to rename it to menus. Okay, and we are also able to access is loading, is success. Let's save it. Let's just put these two only. It's also able to we're able to access to is error or just error. We're able to use these. It's all because we are using this query. Okay, but for now everything is inside menus. That's what we need to understand. If is success, so if everything is successful, then we want to read data from menus. Okay, so let's do something like this. If everything is successful, let's do so. Now what happens is that inside menus we will get IDs and entities. So IDs will have this and entities will have this. This is exactly what we are in this phase. Okay, so let's do like this. IDs, which means we are able to access IDs and menus from inside, sorry, not menus, entities from menus. Okay, IDs, and this is how we are able to, let's copy this and entities, and let's save it. Okay, so we are able to access IDs and entities because we are using const and we're destructuring menus basically. Okay, this is what it means. Okay, now let's map through IDs, because IDs is the most important thing that's going to map us to the entities data records. Okay, so let's do like this. And we will be storing every single record inside our table. So table data, you can name it anything you like, equals IDs dot map. Okay, no intelligence. Okay, I think this should work. We'll fix it if it doesn't. So inside map, let's do menu ID. Okay, menu ID such that, and you know what, let's call our component menu. And this, okay, we'll see this shortly. Okay, so now what we can do is inside this component, let's pass this, because it's a key. Menu ID is a key that's being mapped through IDs. Okay, so as a key, and also let's pass. Okay, now let's create a inside menu. Let's create a file, components menu.js. Okay, so inside menu, let's copy this, and as a context, let's get it here, and inside read menu. Now let's do so that we can use content. You can name it as you want. I'm gonna name it content. Okay, so now here inside, so let's create a table. Okay, okay, actions. Now inside body, we are going to pass this table data. Let's copy this, and inside curly braces we're going to pass this, just because it's going to loop through every single ID. Okay, that's the concept. Now inside return, let's pass this content. Let's copy this, and I guess you can do it like this. Let's paste it and let's save it. Okay, now let's go inside readmenu.js and let's actually get every data. So to do that, we must get help of something. Give me just a second. Okay, there's something called use selector. Okay, now I'd like to go to this menu API slice. So these are these selectors. Okay, select all menus, select menu by ID. So get selector will build these selectors. Using this get selector, we were able to build these selectors. Now using use selector over here, we are able to use those selectors built by get selector. Okay, so if you go inside here, we're going to do something like this: const menu, because we're going to get one record at a time. Okay, so we're going to use selector. I'm gonna pass state such that here intelligence will give you select menu by ID, and here this will take a state and the ID. So state, and the ID will be the key that was passed as context. Let's copy this and let's paste it here. So basically using this we are able to have access to that specific record, okay, inside menu. Now inside read menus we only have table body. Now table row and table data can be used over here. So let's do tr. Inside tr there's td. Okay, so inside td we'll pass this menu dot field name. Let's save it. Field type, field course, and last we're gonna add buttons. Okay, so it's going to be edit and delete. Let's copy this. Sorry. Let's copy this and here delete, and let's save it. Okay, it shows a bug over here. Okay, it's because, okay, let's save it again and let's see if this is working or not. So this is our, so menu is not defined. Okay, so go here and inside menu, not here, we need to import menu. Okay, and let's save it. Now let's see. Okay, all right, now we need to close this, running on port 3000, and we need to make this port as 3000. Okay, so that it's not blocked by cores. All right, so it's giving us initial state. If you see, and initial is an object with entities and IDs. So if you click on read menus, it is actually giving us the data as per expected. So if you go here and if you go inside menu, edit, and let's save it. Let's refresh it. Oh, it's not actually what I need to kill the old terminal in order to get this. Okay, sure. There is a bug. Okay, let's reload again. Cd frontend npm start. Let's see if this works or not. We click on read menus and it's actually working as per our expectation. Alright, in our next video we'll be working on edit and delete menu. Thank you very much for watching.